Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I have 16 Colourpop Super Shock shadows to rank for you. Why don't we go ahead and get into it. As I get started ranking these shadows, full warning, I will try to swatch some of these for you, but there is a chance that some of them are dried out. Part of the reason why I was going to film this video is that I was going to say, okay, let myself rank them, swatch them, and the ones that are dried up, because these are pretty old shadows to be cream shadows in my collection, I'm going to declutter them. So that's kind of like a last hurrah video with these eyeshadows. I really enjoyed them. As you can see, all of them have pan, but it's time for some of these, not all of them, some of them to leave for sure. So with that being said, last place goes to, this is a shade called Wild Thoughts, and the actual formula on this was really good. I just don't love the color on me so much, so it strictly goes to that. It's a very like purpley, kind of leans magenta color, very pretty. Can stay in the eyes, so beware, or stain the skin, but it's a very pretty shadow. But like I said, it's just one that I struggled to make myself reach for because it's a very bright, intense color. Especially nowadays, it's just not one that I would reach for very often. So that one's falling in last place. Number 15 is a shade called Don't Leave, and this one says it's an ultra metallic shade, but I have to be honest, like, it doesn't have much metallic to it. It always has come off like a satin or almost matte to me. The color is a little bit more something I would go for. I would feel a little bit more comfortable in a bright pink than a bright, I don't know, like purpley fuchsia. But again, like this one had, if it had a finish similar to the other one, like a little bit more glitter and metallicness to it, I think I would have liked it a lot better. But I was really disappointed that this one didn't quite have the finish of a like ultra metallic like I would want. It just left a little bit like a little bit boring of a finish. And I'm even looking at this one swatched on my hand, and it doesn't look as metallic as it used to, so that's probably one of my older ones anyways. This one here is definitely one of my older ones. In fact, like, it's coming out of it's become unglued. Now this one I didn't like on its own, but back in the day when I used to do really bold like blue looks once in a while, I would always use this as a base, and I thought, wow, this is really valuable to get other like blue powder shadows to like pop. This is the shade Luckfully. I mean, it's really pretty. I just don't wear it that often because it's super deep jewel tone, and I just don't quite feel as comfortable in those shades. It also has a little bit more of a, not a black base, but it's so dark, and I almost want, like, wish it was a little bit lighter, and that way you could kind of like, it served more as a base or liner, and I think it could have had more potential to be like a star of the show if it was just a little bit lighter. Next up is a shade that I feel torn putting it this far down, but honestly another one that's just old and falling out. This one, yeah, is also dried out, so it's not going to swatch very well, but this is a shade called Sugar. Now I did possibly get a good swatch for it. This is just a silvery blue metallic or ultra glitter. Ultra glitter. I like the ultra glitter finishes a lot better. It's a really pretty shade, especially if you like those kind of blue colors. Not super flattering on my skin tone. I just honestly can't really pull off blue a lot, especially like a super cool tone blue like that. So that's really the only reason why it's falling down that low. Another one that I really like the color of and the finish of, it was a beautiful shadow, but not super like splattering for me, is one called Cusp. I think I look better in like yellow based rather than blue based greens like this. And this is a very like blue based green with like a blue glitter running through it. Really pretty. Again, did I say this one's called Cusp? But super pretty shade. It's just not super flattering on me, so another one that's falling to the bottom for that reason. Next up is a shade that, again, really has a decent formula. It's just falling again to the bottom because I don't reach for the shade often. It's a shade called I Like You. It's got an orange kind of base to it, but it's got a little bit of pinkness to it. And I think it could have been an even stronger duochrome, and I probably would have liked it a lot better. But I have other oranges in my like collection that I like better, so that's partly why it's going to the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and wash these off. Hopefully they're not too staining so that we can swatch the rest of them. Okay, next up, I've officially lost count, is the color Ratio. This one is one that's falling right above that orange for a better reason. Like I like the pink a little bit better. got more of like a gold flip to it. Really pretty. This one is sadly so dried out. I'll have to get rid of this one. This is one I honestly kind of would consider repurchasing, because I think back in the day when it wasn't super dried out, this one was a really pretty color. And it might kind of be unfair to rank it right now because it's just so not swatching well that I can't remember what it looked like in its prime. And I bet I really would have liked it maybe even better and put it higher up on the list, but for now I'm going off of what I can, and it's been a long time since I've worn it, so I'm gonna rank it down a little bit. But this one, next one, is called Juicy Apple. Now this is just a basic sheer, more sheer, and this was one of my first ones. I bought 3 Colourpop shadows, and they were all from the Hello Kitty collection. It was the blue one, this one, or the blue one was not from Hello Kitty, but it was, I bought it at the same time. This one from, and then one that's gonna show up later. I really liked the sheer base formula. Again, you're not be able to see it because it's, but it just kind of deposited a glitter, and I could use it. I found it was really versatile, and that's the reason why I'm ranking it above that pink and goldish shade that I really like. This next one is one that I think has a little bit of green in it. It's really similar to another shade that I swatched earlier, the one that was like silvery blue. This one, however, has a little just warmth in it. It's called Special Delivery, and I think this one's so much more flattering on me and so much more pretty. This one's actually not too dried out these days either, so I think I might be able to keep that one. But still very blue based, but there's just something about it, maybe a slight yellowy undertone to it, that I can pull it off a little bit better, and I really like that shade. Again, that one's Special Delivery. Next up is one that I have such like conflicted feelings on. This one's called Birthday Wish. When I saw it online and read the description, it's like supposed to be like this duochrome, and it's so beautiful, but I feel like when you put it on the lid, it kind of loses the impact that it's supposed to have as a duochrome. But then again, it is something like it's not a duochrome. It's kind of like a taupey beige kind of base and then like a little pink glitter running through it. And the reason why I'm ranking it a little bit higher maybe than I should is because, especially nowadays, I want to do really simple looks, but I want just a little something to them, and I feel like that's kind of shade that I want to reach for. Although you can definitely tell that it's dried out a little bit now. It kind of lost a little bit of its luster, but that is Birthday Wish. This is the last shadow, my last oldest shadow from Colourpop. This is another Hello Kitty collection one from way back in the day. Like, I'm talking like 2018, y'all, don't judge me. This is called Rainbow, and it's just a white glitter. It's really similar to like the Fenty highlighter, the Diamond Bomb highlight, where it's got a sheer base, white glitter, a little bit more glittery than the, like, little bit more glitter per swatch than like the Fenty ones. But back in the day, I used to wear this with any pastel matte shadow that I had, and I would pop this over the top, and it kind of would like transform into like this beautiful, like, it just went so well with all of my pastels. So that one's a hard one to let go of because I really loved it, but that one was such a good shadow back in the day. But it's definitely time. It's so old and dried out now, and I've already revived these back like when I was living in Sweden. I remember taking like some sort of oil and putting in it, and it did a really good job. But they're so old at this point, I don't think they should be revived twice. I feel like that's just a breeding ground for probably bacteria. So moving on to the next shade, Fringe. This one's a really pretty taupey gold shade. Really pretty. If you don't, I mean, you probably have this in your like eyeshadow collection, but I always thought that was a really pretty shade in general. Really neutral gold, if that makes sense. Then we have I Heart This, another one that's super more pewter leaning, I think, but just a super good shade. If you're looking for something like a one and done shadow, probably this one would be a really good one. I really have always loved that shade, and for whatever reason, even though it's so boring, it's landing in the top 5. By the way, there's 3 left, so number 3 here. This one is so good, and I almost feel guilty. Like this one and the next one, I went back and forth on like, is this a number 3 or is this number 2? So take that for what it is. This is called Frog, and I think this is a stunning shade. It's like a baby kind of pink, but it has like a blue glitter in it. Mine's so old and dry, so it's not gonna swatch the best, but believe me, this one is really pretty. Again, sorry, you probably can't see that at all. It back in the day, it used to be a really good one, but you can probably see there that it's just so dried out and old, and unfortunately I definitely need to get rid of that one. Next up is a shade called Twitter Pated, another really pretty one. This is another kind of like pink to goldy kind of duochrome, and I remember liking this so much. Maybe a little bit more toned down than the other pink to gold duochrome that I showed you earlier. A little bit more wearable, so that one's why this one's falling at number 2. And then the last one here is just a classic, I feel like at this point, Moonwalk, and it's this beautiful red based green. This is my newest one, so other than the fact that it's cracking a little bit just because I dropped it, this one still feels pretty decent. I'm probably gonna keep it. Yeah, that one still swatches really well, even though I definitely have that shade over and over again in my eyeshadow palette collection. I probably could let it go, but I don't know. Most of these are gonna go because a lot of these are really old. I did buy this one within the last 2.5 years. Still kind of old, DaLin, but that is all of it. All 16 of my Colourpop shadows ranked. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite top 1, 2, 3, however many you want to share, or your least favorite one. That's fine too. I'm very tempted in the future, maybe not this year, maybe next year, to buy more Super Shock shadows because I really enjoyed the formula on these. I think they're really great shadows. But yeah, make sure you say hello, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.